So sadly, with the last episode, we didn't quite reach our target of topping a tier 2 event. We were one round away. We threw game on board. We had the chance to top. So now I have to do it at our regionals. This week we had Portsmouth regionals. It was 102 players in total at this event. This meant there would have been 7 rounds of Swiss with no top cut, and very simply all we had to do was go X1 or 2 and we should make near top 8/top 16. Top 8 is a top cut basically in the UK in our regionals, so we don't really get a lot of top 16 events unless you got a massive regionals. So top 8 was the goal. We did stick with the shark deck, and there are a few changes that we did make to the deck, which I'm going to talk you through in a moment. I will say for this video, I wasn't really able to film the matches. I could have asked for fixed seating, which I would have been able to record. There was space. However, I don't like asking for fixed seating if I don't necessarily need it at a large event. We've got to remember, like, these judges, these TOs, they're having to deal with 100+ people in a room. Some of them who actually do need fixed seating, and I don't want to be a bit of a headache, effectively, always asking for fixed seating if I'm only there for content purposes. So then the plan was I was going to film the matches itself, just like a little tripod on the mat, like a little tiny one. Unfortunately, it literally was not enough room. The table was about this wide. For reference as well, the locals before this regionals, I went to locals with the same builds I'm playing at the regionals, and we went 3-1. We got packs. With that in mind, I had actually good hopes of doing well at this event. I mean, the deck performs really well against Snake Eye and Voiceless Voice, which seem to be the most two relevant decks in the format. However, something I always learn about UK regionals, especially in the South, is there will just be a random thing in the room. Like, you'll play against True Draco, you'll play against Dark Magician, it's Guru, something floodgatey that just goes, I win the dice roll, I flip skill drain, I activate Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and I win. That always happens at every regionals in the South Coast, and I guaranteed I would have got one the regionals. Obviously I already know, but... So before we get started, the deck itself, we were playing 3 Abyss Shark, 1 Crystal Shark, 3 Buzzsaw, 2 Leaf Fish, 3 Shathana, because it turns on the Abyss Shark. Doing this and then going Abyss Shark to search Buzzsaw is so good. 2 Angler, I swapped one out because one was a little bit damaged. 2 Remora, 2 Nettle, these are extenders effectively. 3 Foolish Bro Goods, this is both the best card and the worst card in my deck, we'll explain why in a minute. Instant Fusion plus 2 Ready Fusion for the Fusion package. If you're going to get something that targets, you just Instant Fusion for Mud Dragon, and then they just can't target your stuff, which is quite nice. 2 White Mirror, the Armored Disease, 3 Chalice. Spoilers, this card put in so much work at the regionals. This is actually generally a good card, in my opinion, at the moment. Not a lot of people are expecting it. A few people had cross out, and they were like, oh, I was ready to cross out your Imperm. But they don't have Chalice, so yo. 3 Spolly. Cards cracked. Call by 2 Thrust and 1 Talents. We swapped this around a little bit last minute. I was playing 3 Thrust at one point, but the Talents is really nice because you'll see in the side deck there's something funny that we can do. 3 Impermanence, 1 Xyz and 1 Ice Bearer. I drew this card so many times, which was really annoying. There was someone who topped YCS Sydney playing Shark. He got top 32. He was playing Droplets. There are a lot of people playing Droplets at the moment in topping this as Shark. I'm on the fence about it. I get it, like, you can like dump... They're also playing 2 Ice Barrier. You can dump an Ice Barrier and that gives you a follow-up for next turn. But if you don't have the Ice Barrier, I don't know what you want to get rid of. Yes, I'm playing Spolly, which is a discard. But Droplets means you have to send something either from your field or your hand. So it's like, what are you sending? You're sending a Bahamut, but then the Bahamut you use for the Fortress line. So it just feels like you're sending resources that could be used for other things. Whereas you don't get such a big payoff like Spolly. Spolly has a big payoff. You get a body back on board, you get level 4, you get targeting protection. Droplets, I'm not too sure about that. However, really sucks when you draw the 1-off Ice Barrier. At one point in the regionals, I drew 1 Ice Barrier and 2 Foolish Goods, so I was playing with a 2-card hand. So the extra and the side deck, these pretty much didn't change much. The extra deck stayed as it was, with just the 1 Zeus's on non-water. The side deck, Dogwood, Evenly, Gamma Seal, Cyclone, that's standard. The things we changed around, we kept the Gozen match. This card was very good, especially if you set up with Kraken. It's basically just an FTK. Duster's there for the thrust if we play against like something like Lab or Floodgate deck. And Wobby. Silent Wobby. Basically, like a week before the regionals, I saw this on a Facebook post, and I remembered this as a card. I remember playing this in like Mindburn. Basically, if it's in your hand, you can special summon it to opponent's field. Then it, on a new chain, its effect activates where your opponent, which is me in this case, gains 2k, and you draw a card, which is the person you give this to. So what this is you give it to them, they draw a card, you gain 2k. So it's a time card. It's searchable by Abyss Shark. It turns on Thrust and Talents because it activates on the field. So my game plan was, I'm going near time. I'm going to put one of these in as a search target off of Abyss Shark, which is also searchable off of Foolish Spirit Goods. And then I just gained 2k, so in time I should have a win. The other thing you can do is you can, if you really need to, you can do that and then like thrust into Talents and then take it back for a level 4 water. The other funny thing is we played against a cash guy, and you put this on the board, they can't play. So that's a funny thing that may or may not have happened, spoiler alert. This isn't mine, big shout out to Joe for letting me borrow it. Turns out it's only ever got one printing, and this is the only printing. It's a gold secret rare from Premium Gold Legendary Duelist, I think, LD, Premium Gold something. So I was quite lucky, I managed to get a lift down to this event with my friend Reese. It's actually run this event by a few of my friends. So while the event didn't start, technically until 11:30, we got there at 9:30. It was too early. Because reasons we had to try and help set up and stuff like that. I did actually have a lot of fun cracking all of these boxes that you can see. We were just obviously making sure that they were ready to go for people's entry. Registration was from, I want to say it was from like 10 till 11, I believe. We already wrote our list so we could just chill and relax, and we had some food while we're watching other people write their lists in such a hurry. Obviously, if you've never been to regionals before, you get entry packs, and just look at how frustrating these entry packs were.
Keep that out. Oh, this is going to be really annoying.
It's a really small table.
Yeah. How is this going to work then?
Keith! Yes! Thank you.
The black goat.
Did you... Fuck up.
Oh my god, it just gets better and better.
Oh! Prick.
Oh, top it off with the keys, yeah, why not?
Oh, yeah!
Oh, that looks so nice. Look at that.
Sorry. Actual content.
Oh, that looks so nice.
Goblin Biker.
Oh. It's a pretty good pack, eh?
Hey, how's it going, Connor?
Sorry. I've got another Goblin Biker. We got some good packs.
Whoa! So yeah, that was a good start to the event, as it were. For those who don't know, obviously we're keeping track of our record for this series, so a win-loss record. Following in from a few of the locals before regionals that you haven't seen, this is currently what our standings are at the moment, which I am happy with. Again, the losses, most of those are from Ice Barrier and Paleo, so we are slowly getting back the losses. I might, if it's easier, break down these losses and wins per deck, just because it's a little bit funny. So round one, we find ourselves near the bottom tables. The round one table doesn't really matter effectively in regionals because it doesn't really respect where you are. It's just where you're playing your first round. We played up against Vanquish Soul, and to be fair, I haven't played against Vanquish Soul a lot. I know that they need to have their cards in hand to do like the tag up plays like Cosmo, but they also need the attributes in hand. All I know is I go first because I win the die roll. In the standby phase, he just shifters me. So my immediate thought is we're playing up against Flu or something like Cash, mainly Flu is my opinion. There's a lot of Flu in the room. The most represented decks was Snake Eye, then Voiceless, then Flu, in that order, but there was so many Flu it felt like there was more. So after being shifted, I can't go for Toad because Toad can't activate under shifter. So very simply, we just set up a Kragan with a set Super Poly. I have some other stuff in hand, but I'm going to try and keep it for now. And very simply, we just managed to Kragan him to death. And then when he does put two things on board, we just spoil them away into a Mud Dragon, which now means he can't target the Kragan with his other hand traps. He's playing Bell, Ash, Morna. Morna was annoying a few times, but thankfully Kragan didn't really care because you can chain the Kraken to the Mourner, so it's not really a problem. So we win game 1 quite comfortably. Game 2, it goes to, again, a really grindy game. Eventually we get to an armor OTK line and we just managed to kill him like that for a 2-0 win. I want to say this game lasted 20 minutes, half an hour. I think it was 25 minutes, something like that. So we had a bit of time to chill after that, which was quite nice. So on a 1-0 victory, table 2, we found ourselves on table 5. So we went from the bottom up to the top, which was quite nice. This is where I was expecting to see lots of the better decks. Obviously, round 2 is not as relevant because it's just people who have got an XO at that point. We lost the Dire this time and we played up against Fire King Tri-Brigade, a very cool deck that I haven't seen a lot of. I really wish Snake Eye didn't exist because you see cool decks like this. The Fire King and the Tri-Brigade stuff actually has a lot of interactions with each other, which is quite nice. They do supplement each other pretty well. They win the die roll, they set up a board, they set up, I think it was Apo, Revolt and the double Dragon Lords. Thankfully we just spolly away the double Dragon Lords and the Appaloosa, and now we just need to deal with the Revolt. Unfortunately, the Shurig doesn't target, so Mudragon doesn't protect against that, but we do manage to get in an OTK line with the Armor XZ stuff. We set up a Toad, I think, or we set up a Kraken to deal with the Shurig once it came out, so that wasn't a problem. Game 2, same thing again. They go first, they set up a board, we OTK them. It was a 2-0 victory and it was done in about 15 minutes. I had a really nice interaction on this table where McDiddy Dags, big shout out to him, was sat to the next table. My opponent was a lovely person as well, I won't lie. They asked me if I was playing the Worcestershire Sydney list. And McDiddy, just without even stopping, went, no. This guy's the OG, he's the fish man. And I was like, so that was quite a nice warming community moment. But at that point, we were 2-0. 2-0 at regionals. Can we go all the way? Round 3, we're on table 6. Players all to the left of me playing Snake Eye and Flu. To the right of me, Snake Eye and Flu. I'm expecting one of those matchups. My opponent wins the die roll, and his first action is to activate King Sarcophagus. And I was like, oh, okay, this will be like some Horus tier, Horus something. And no. All he does is he summons the Horus stuff. He summons 3 of them, goes into Coach King, activates the effect 3 times, reveals top 3, adds them to hand. He reveals Desires, Skill Drain, Summon Limit. I'm like, right, cool. It's going to be one of those games. So after setting 4 with the Coach King, he then tribute summons Vanity's Fiend and just goes games 2. To which point I go, no thank you. I chalice the Vanities, so that's not a problem. Apart from we can't play through a summon limit, which is the main problem. I summon Shathana, I summon Abyss Shark. That is obviously my 2 summons. Abyss Shark adds me a Buzzsaw for the next turn. He, for some reason, flips Skill Drain, which was interesting. I don't know why he did that. Turns off his own Vanity's Fiend, so now that's not a problem. He's negated his own problem. However, the summon limit is the problem. Shark, unless you draw non-engine, can't play through a summon limit, so that was that game. So we lost that one. Game 2, we won through a grind. We managed to grind them out quite nicely. This deck is very well matched up against Shark, which is the issue, because the Horus stuff is bigger than Kraken. Kraken can't pop them, and like I said, he plays summon limit. I can't play through a summon limit. So we lost game 1, we won game 2. Unfortunately, game 3, he sets up a similar thing of the Horus tribute summon Vanity's Ruler this time, so he can special summon, I can't. He sets a few cards. Again, we managed to chalice the Vanity's Ruler, so that's not a problem. However, we do lose to a summon limit. So we lost 1-2 for that one. I did ask him how many times he won the dice roll that event. He said he'd won it twice in 3 rounds, which is respectable. I was a little bit salty after that match. And turns out the guy was unintentionally cheating the entire event as well. He came up to me later on in the event and apologised because apparently he cheated against me. The interaction he was doing, he didn't do to me. So basically he was playing the Rainbow Bridge Crystal trap card, which obviously searches you a field spell. So he was basically searching Necro Valley, from what I understand. He was playing the Rainbow Dragon, which is not a Crystal Beast. So for the whole event, no one picked him up on this. He didn't do that interaction to me, but it did raise some eyebrows from a few of my friends. But anyway, it could have been completely unintentional, which is completely fine. At the end of the day, I can't out summon limit, so we did lose that round. Round 4, up against Kashtira. Kashtira is a deck that I actually really like now. When I had a Rise Heart, it was a little bit stinky. At the moment, it's a little bit more fairer. We win the dice roll, we go first, so we win game 1. We To be fair, he does play into my board very well. My opponent was lovely that round. He forced me to do things, which was annoying. He forced out me to interact, and then he had a talents, and I had to spolly away my own stuff, basically, to play around the talents, which was a little bit annoying. Thankfully, he didn't have anything left to play with. He only had hand traps, so we won that one. Game 2 was a very fun game. It was one of those games where you just sit down and you look back and you're like, that was a great game. So he goes first, he sets up the board, we break his board, and it turns into a very strong, long, grindy game. He has Birth, and I have the Armor Xyz trap engraved and the Armor Xyz spell in my hand, like what my line is going to be, like how am I going to kill him this turn, because I have game. And my thought process was, if I activate the Armored Xyz, he's going to banish stuff from my grave, and he'll banish the trap, all the Xyz. So what I do first is I activate the trap to equip, and I go big. Then I activate the spell, also I steal as well. Then I activate the spell to equip again. And I completely misplay here in the fact that the spell then resets the attack value I've gained from the trap. What I should have done first, and this is for everyone watching if they don't know, is you activate the spell to equip. Do that. They then activate Birth on a new chain. You chain the trap to dodge Birth. That's what I should have done. If I'd done that, I would have had game. It would have been a 2-0. Unfortunately, we lost that game because I threw. So I was like, uh-oh, this is really bad. 2 of my friends literally sat right next to me watching my game as well. Game 3, we go very grindy again, and we go to time. Unfortunately for my opponent, I feel really bad for him, is we had a judge call situation. The calling for judge took like a minute, and I wholeheartedly put my hand on my heart and say I was trying to get judge over as quick as I can, but unfortunately the way judge calls work is the judges won't give you extra time for having to wait for a judge call. That just doesn't work. I spoke to judges afterwards, it just doesn't happen that way. And after that, when time was called, I was winning 3-2 in my main phase. To be fair to him, we had a little, like, what would have happened next is he had Zeus. He Zeused my board anyway. Is I have Silent Nettle in hand. I have Shathana in grave. Toad goes to grave. It adds back Shathana. I special the Shathana. I special Nettle. And then I make Kragan. And then Kragan pops his Zeus. And then he minus 15. He was on 2k. I was on 3-2. So it was going to be game either way. But it was a very close game. Really nice guy. That was on table 23. We won that one, so after round 4, we're 3-1, which is still a good record. I am amazed that Water-only Shark has managed to get this far. We've only got 3 more rounds. If we can go X1 or X2, we are guaranteed a top X1 at least. Round 5, we're on table 8. My opponent wins the die roll, and he's playing Traptrix. Not what I expected to see. Round 5, table 8, I won't lie. We're right at the bottom of the top table. We're basically in 16th place at this moment, but it is Shark versus Traptrix up there. My hand is perfectly fine. It's a good hand. I don't have any hand traps, but I have loads of gas. I've got Forged Barrier Goods. I've got loads of stuff. I'm ready to go. I top deck, and it's Ice Barrier. And because I top deck Ice Barrier, my hand now becomes doo-doo, effectively, in the polite term. And we lose that one. We do chalice his Sarah, which is quite funny. Like, obviously Imperm doesn't affect it, but it's always open to chalice, which just means chalice does come up a few times. It was quite funny. So we lost game 1. Game 2, we won via an OTK. My opponent didn't know what the OTK line was, to be fair to him. And we just killed him with a Kragan equipped with an Armoured Fortress. That was just an OTK out of nowhere, especially with attacking twice. On an empty board, because Kraken pop. So we won that one pretty simply, and then we had game 3. He went first. He made a board. We broke his board, made a board. He then went Prosp. We obviously Toad negated the Prosp, and I'll set it because why not? He then activates another Prosp because Toad negates activation. He hits talents off of the Prosp. He takes my Armored Xyz Lancer Boy, and then we die. So unfortunately, after round 5, we went X2, and at that point, the way of topping was effectively over. Round 6, table 12. We're X2, we can still hopefully win this one, and we're up against Snake Eye. We won the dice roll this time, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, the way that our hand goes is we bricked real bad. This is another game that I drew double Foolish Bread plus Ice Bear. I did it twice in the event. One of the ones was against Vanquish Soul, we won that one. However, against Snake Eye, having 3 cards down is very bad. So our game plan was just set 3, and we lost, which sucks. If you win the dice roll against Snake Eye playing Shark, you should win, because you can set up like Crag and Dweller. That's not something they can play through most of the time. But unfortunately, because we bricked, we lost that one. Game 2, we lost due to a very grindy game. Basically, it was me summoning Buzzsaw, and he every turn just hand trapped it, and it was the only thing we had. My hand was things like Imperm, Chalice, Spolly, so he wasn't playing through whatever I was going to do. However, I couldn't put anything on the board to stick the advantage. So after a very grindy game of trying to use Buzzsaw, eventually we get Buzzsaw off, we go full combo. However, the way we've done it is we've had to use Abyss Shark, and then we lose to Nib, because Bahamut is my 5th summon. So unfortunately, we lost that round again, and at that point we're X3, we can't top, and Dream was dead. At this point, I was also talking with Head Judge, saying, oh, I'm probably just going to drop now. Head Judge is my friend Anthony. Anthony said, no, don't drop. Play your last round. You'll be fine. So I played the last round, and we're up against Snake Eye again. Unfortunately, we lost the die roll. He goes full Snake Eye combo. I'm pretty sure I can play through it. However, he has 3 hand traps to back up the full combo. So we can't win that one. At this point, I'm very tired. I'm knackered. I don't really care anymore. Game 2, I go first. I set up my usual board. I pass turn, and then I pause. I look at my board. So I've got a Toad. I have a Lancer, but not Dark Knight Lancer. I have the Crystal Zero Lancer. I have a Abyss Shark and a Shathana. So what I should have done here is I should have either put the Dark Knight on the Lancer, or should have made a Kragan. I have the trap to Xyz summon, but for some reason I just skipped one of my Xyz summons I need to do. At that point, I realised I had made a mistake, and I just said to my opponent, "I've screwed up here. I'm just going to scoop."
I'll get the can out of you.
Wait, you're not in the can. So we lost that one, which put us eventually technically on a 3-4 record. However, I did want to kind of just drop and go 3-3. With all that in mind, we did end up going 40th out of 102 players. With Water Only Shark, I'm still pretty happy with that. I might sound a little bit disappointed. I am disappointed because we were doing so well. We were X1 at round 4. We could have gone on to get a top cut if either we didn't brick or if we didn't play against Traptrix, apparently. So, yeah, unfortunately, guys, we didn't quite get the top. We do have another regionals in a couple of weeks in Melksham. I don't know if I'm going to play Shark. There are a few other strategies I want to test out. One of them I'm going to try tomorrow if the cards arrive in time. Spoiler alert. If not, it's going to be Shark. But otherwise, this was the Freaky Fish guy. See you next time.